Familiar, you're familiar. So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar.
Hello students, welcome back to my video. So this is a continuation of the previous video, isn't it? So this is I think part 10 for your reference, right? So now in this video I am going to discuss the concept called mass energy equivalence. So it is well known concept already to most of you. So that is what is the relation between mass and energy according to Einstein. So definitely you will know the equation that E is equal to mc square. So that is the well known Einstein's mass energy equation, isn't it? That is E is equal to mc square. How the energy is related to mass. So or you can say mass of a body is related to energy, right? Now how to obtain that Einstein's well known equation according to the theory of relativity. So okay, so the special theory of relativity basically helps to obtain that equation. Okay, so as you know, we have to consider the Newtonian mechanics for any body which is moving with certain velocity and having some momentum. Okay, so based on that classical concept, okay, and by using the special theory of relativity on the mass variation with respect to its velocity, that means in the last video we have discussed that the mass is not a absolute quantity, right? It is a variant quantity with respect to the observer. So when the body is moving with certain velocity, it is found to be different for different observers. Okay, based on that special theory of relativity concept, or we can say based on the relativistic mass concept, okay, used in the Newtonian mechanics, okay, one can obtain the expression for mass energy relation. So that is actually very good contribution by the Einstein. So far we are using that equation in various applications also, right? So we have so many significance of that equation will come across till today, right? So now let us see that interesting derivation of the mass energy relation in this video, right? Okay, so just consider first of all, as I told, Newtonian mechanics equation, that is particularly Newton's second law. Okay, from Newton's second law of motion, the force acting on any body is equal to what? It is the rate of change of momentum it produces, right? So it is a simple equation for you, so that you can write force acting on any body is equal to F is equal to rate of change of momentum is dp by dt, right? What is that P? P is the momentum of a body due to the applied force. Okay, so rate of change of momentum gives the force acting on it, that is according to Newton's second law. So starting from that equation, so we will proceed, okay, so that how the Newtonian mechanical equation is derived, and further the substitution of the mass variation according to Einstein's theory of relativity, right? So that is the procedure here. Okay, now after this first equation, so we can say if the body of mass m, particularly if the force is acting on a body of mass m, so then it starts moving with velocity v, right? Moving with velocity v as the force F applied on it, then we can write P as equal to the product of mass into velocities. Therefore F is equal to what? d by dt into m into v. Okay, so that now we can write it as according to partial differentiation m into dv by dt plus v into dm by dt. Okay, so this can be applied by assuming both mass and velocity are variable quantities. Okay, but in fact in Newtonian mechanics, so mass is considered as constant. Okay, it is a absolute quantity, so that only rate of change of velocity is considered dv by dt as acceleration, isn't it? So then you will get force is equal to what? M into dv by dt is nothing but acceleration a, so m into a, that's it. Now let us assume according to Einstein mass is also a variable quantity, and then we can differentiate partially, okay, by assuming mass is also a variable quantity. So that is the main important concept here, so that you can write now m into dv by dt plus v into dm by dt, right? Partial differentiation. So where m and v are considered as both variables here. Clear? Is it clear? Okay. Then further, suppose if the force acting on the body displaces it through a small distance dx in the direction of the force. So you know, when the force acting on a body, certainly the body has to displace through certain distance. So the distance is considered here dx. Clear? Okay, then what is the work done? Work done by the force. and that work done acting on the body is in fact stored in the body as its kinetic energy. When it starts moving, it's stored in the form of kinetic energy, right? So the work done stored in the body is kinetic energy, let us say that is dEk. Okay, so that kinetic energy dEk is equal to nothing but work done dW should be equal to the product of force into displacement, isn't it? That is F into dx, right? Okay, then substitute the equation of force from equation 2. You can substitute the force here. So that is equal to what? F is equal to m into dV by dt plus v into dm by dt. Okay, from equation 2 that is. So then multiply by dx. So if you apply that for both the terms here, you will get m into, so you just write dx by dt here. So the dv you can take it separately. So you can write in the form of m into dv dx by dt plus again we have v into, okay, dm you write separately, you write dx, multiplication of dx as rate of change of displacement with respect to time it is. So we can write it as dx by dt. So both sides we have dx by dt in the terms here. Okay, so once we have dx by dt in both the terms, so we can substitute that dx by dt as velocity. So you know that rate of change of displacement due to the applied force is nothing but what? Velocity. So that is why I am writing it as v. So dx by dt I will take it as v in the above equation. Then you will get, so in this equation m into dx by dt is equal to v, so mv dv plus here already there is a v here, so dx by dt is another v, you will get v square into dm. Clear? So let it be equation 3, and then I will continue how to use the relativistic mass equation in this equation 3 now according to Einstein's theory of relativity. Clear? Okay, now look at here. So I am considering the theory of relativistic mass. Okay, so that is what we have discussed in the special theory of relativity. So the effective mass of a body moving with velocity v in terms of its rest mass m naught. So we are assuming a constant parameter of a body that is called rest mass when the body is at rest. Okay, that is m naught. When it is moving with some velocity, then its velocity is, its mass is considered as m. Okay, so that is given by equation m is equal to m naught by square root of 1 minus v square by c square. So this is a well known equation. In the last video I think we have derived this equation, right? So m naught by square root of 1 minus v square by c square. Now just I will rearrange this equation, squaring on both sides. So that is m square is equal to, so you know, m naught square divided by, so you can cancel this square root on the denominator, left with 1 minus v square by c square, right? So again we have LCM c square in the denominator. So if I take that denominator LCM into the numerator, you will get m naught square into c square. Okay, so divided by c square minus v square, right? So this is just rearrangement of the above equation. Now by cross multiplication what you can write here? So m square into c square minus, okay, m square into v square in the left hand side you will get. Similarly in the right hand side left with only m naught square into c square. Okay, so take it as equation 5. Now so this equation can be differentiated further. Okay, so differentiating the above equation, how do you differentiate it? So you will get, after differentiation, by assuming mass as a variable here, because the velocity of light c is constant, so you will get 2m. After differentiation of m square you will get 2m into dm, isn't it? With respect to m it is, okay, into constant c square. So minus, again in this case, so you have to assume both mass and velocity are variable here, right? So 2m into dm v square, when you differentiate partially, 2m into dm v square you will get, minus, okay, so because there is a minus sign here of course, so minus, otherwise it is a plus, so multiply by minus, then differentiate v square, that is 2v into dv into m square as it is. Is it clear? So it is a partial differentiation of m square into v square by assuming both are variables here. Okay, and that is equal to 0. Why it is equal to 0? Because in the right hand side if you differentiate, so m naught and c both are actually constants here. Rest mass of a body is constant m naught and c is also constant. Differentiation of a constant is 0. That's it. So left with, in the left hand side only c square into dm. Okay, so that is equal to, I will take this minus at both the terms into the right hand side, so that I can write now mv dv. So where is that v into dv? So that is the equation obtained from here, isn't it? There is a m square, okay, one m is cancelled, so left with only one m. M into v into dV. Okay, this term it is, and then I will write the second term as V square, okay, V square into dm. So this V square is written here into dm. That's it. So now compare this equation 6, okay, with equation 3. It is still here only. Okay, note down that comparison. So mv dv plus v square dm, and here also mv dv plus v square into dm. So both are similar. Okay, and hence we can consider now dEk. So that is what actually we are considering the change of kinetic energy due to the application of the force. Okay, so that change of kinetic energy dEk can be written as now, okay, from equation 6 it is equal to what? C square into dm. Clear? So change of kinetic energy must be equal to now dEk equal to C square into dm is the equation 7 for you. Okay, now let us proceed to the final equation. So after this equation 7, you look at here, if mass of the body changes from m0 to m, okay, as the body moves from rest, okay, then what we can have, there is a integration limit. So if there is a mass changes basically from m0 to m, okay, then we can write change of kinetic energy dEk is equal to C square as a constant into, okay, change of mass, that is integration with the limits m0 to m. We can apply that, isn't it? So that is C square into, after integration you will get m by applying the upper limit m and lower limit m0, so you will get m minus m0, isn't it? So the kinetic energy, now integration of dEk, so change of kinetic energy is integrated for that and total energy, so that differential and integration cancel each other, left with the kinetic energy is equal to C square into m minus m0. Okay, note down that equation and then simplify it. So you can take now m0 into C square, okay, just take it into the left hand side, you will get Ek plus m0 C square, and then into in the right hand side m square into C square, you know, so m into C square, that is m into C square left in the right hand side. Okay, so we can write it in words like Ek is nothing but what? Kinetic energy plus m0 C square is nothing but what? Rest mass energy, because we have m0 here, so m0 is nothing but what? It is a rest mass. Okay, so m0 is the rest mass, therefore the energy is given by rest mass energy now, so that is equal to mc square, where m is now relativistic mass. Okay, now this kinetic energy plus rest mass energy, so once you consider the total energy, so it is always the sum of kinetic energy and its rest mass energy. So you can further consider it as even potential energy also, rest mass energy also equivalent to potential energy, right? So but if we add together, it is considered as total energy, right? So sum of these two is equal to now total energy of a body, okay, of mass m, and hence so that is equal to now mc square. Okay, so we write it in the equation now, total energy as E of a particle of mass m, so then you will get the equation like E is equal to mc square. So that is the relation between a body of mass m. Okay, so even you consider according to theory of relativity that mass may be a variable quantity, okay, then its corresponding energy will be considered as total energy E. Okay, then we can consider this equation, well known equation E equal to mc square, derived by the Einstein relativistic concept here. So and hence it is called the Einstein's mass energy relation. Clear? Okay, just to mention, let us consider some of the important significance of this Einstein's mass energy relation. Okay, so let us see some significance of mass energy relation here. Okay, the first one is annihilation of matter. So what do you mean by that? So when electron and positron, okay, you have to consider opposite charged particle like electron and positron. So positron is exactly opposite particle to electron in terms of charge, and when they combine with each other, they annihilate. Okay, so positive and negative charges combine each other, you know, they get annihilate, they destroy each other. Okay, and their masses will be converted into energy. So when they combine and destroy each other, what happens to their mass? They convert that converted into energy, in the form of energy. Particularly this energy is released in the form of gamma rays. So in that way we can understand how the mass converts into the energy. Okay, that is called annihilation of matter. And the second one you look at here, so pair production. So you know that when a photon having energy equal to around 1.02 mega electron volt, so nearly 1 mega electron volt, interact with the nucleus. So when it interacts with the nucleus, in sense when it is incident on any particular nucleus, so what happens, it gives rise to a pair of electron and positron again. See, electron and positron, both opposite charged particles of certain mass, are released or obtained. Okay, so that is obtained only when a photon of certain energy around 1 mega electron volt interacts with the nucleus. Okay, then the two masses are produced here, they are called electron and proton. So in this way we can understand that the photon energy is converted into matter. Okay, this is exactly opposite to annihilation of matter. Okay, here actually masses are converted into energy. In this example we can see energy, photon energy is converted into matter particle. Clear? And the next one is, again it is very interesting thing here, the binding energy, and important also to understand the various elements in the periodic table. See, in a nucleus, the sum of the masses of nucleons. So inside the nucleus we have the nucleons. What are the nucleons actually? Protons and neutrons, isn't it? So they are called nucleons. So when you calculate sum of the masses of nucleons, okay, it is always more than the mass of the nucleus. Okay, if you compare the total mass of the nucleons, it is always greater than the mass of the nucleons. Okay, the difference, you know, the difference is called mass defect. Okay, should remember that the difference is called mass defect, and the energy corresponding to this mass defect. Okay, so there is a energy, each nucleus will have certain energy, you know, that energy is depending upon the mass defect. Okay, or mass difference also we can say. So that energy corresponds to this mass defect is called now binding energy. Okay, that is called binding energy of that particular nucleus belongs to certain element. Okay, so in that way we can understand there is a relation between the mass difference and the energy of a element, or energy of an atom in the element also we can say, right? So in this way you can understand how the mass energy relation helpful. And also the last one is very well known for you, nuclear fission and fusion reactions. Okay, where large amount of energy is released, so during the interaction between certain particles. Okay, so these are the important examples of conversion of mass into energy. So where nuclear fission gives the splitting up of the heavy nucleus into two smaller particles. Okay, where there is a lot of amount of energy released. Even the fusion, okay, combining of two nuclei also produces the large amount of energy, that is called nuclear fusion reaction. Both are actually releasing the energy based upon the interaction between the matter particle. Okay, so in that way we can understand what is the importance of mass energy relation given by Einstein. So that's all about the discussion in this video. So I will see you in the next video then.